What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 34 of the College Loop Podcast, or the Bo Jackson episode, if you will, or the Charles Barkley. A lot of great 34s in Auburn athletics history. But I'm once again joined today by Harrison Tarr and Daniel Locke. How y'all two doing?
I'm doing well.
Doing pretty good.
Pumped to talk some Auburn ball, and we've got an awesome interview, exclusive interview here on the College Loop with Anders Carlson and Nick Brahms. We caught them in the car on their way down to Nick Brahms' wedding. Huge congratulations from the College Loop to the Brahmses. That's big time. We're really excited for them, part of the Auburn family forever, and an interview that you don't want to miss. So make sure you stay locked in on the loop. If you're going to skip ahead, don't skip through that part because that is a must. That's must-see TV. It's appointment television. Also, appointment television, Daniel Locke's breakdown of college gymnastics. Always exciting, always on the edge of my seat. Daniel, talk to me a little bit about Auburn's senior night send-off over Penn State.
Sure. So, obviously, second week in a row, no Suni Lee due to a non-gymnastics issue. Hopefully nothing to be concerned of, and she'll be good to go in Duluth, Georgia for the SEC championships next week. But Cassie Stevens won the all-around for title for Auburn. Second week in a row, I believe third time on the year. Auburn ended up beating Penn State 197.6 to 197.025, which is a pretty good win in gymnastics. And what I noticed on pretty much every event, there were 2 or 3 Auburn Tigers before there was a Penn State Nittany Lion on the scores list. So Auburn really, really dominated this one. Obviously, as always, first rotation, home teams on vault, road teams on bars. So Cassie Stevens and Darian Goborn led Auburn, both getting a 9.9. And on bars for Auburn in second rotation, Stevens Goborn led the way again, each with a 9.925. Gabby McLaughlin led the way for the Tigers on beam with a 9.950. And Olivia Hollingsworth actually led Auburn on floor with a 9.950. It would have been nice to see Darian Goborn get a 10 on floor her last meet inside Neville Arena, but that's unfortunately just didn't come to pass. But like I said previously, Auburn will be competing in the SEC gymnastics meet next Saturday over in Duluth, Georgia. And then the NCAA tournament's a lock. There's no way they wouldn't be a part of that. So hopefully we'll get to host a regional. I don't think that's predetermined. So they should have that opportunity, I would think. And then, yeah, it wouldn't be the last meet, and maybe Darian would get another chance to get that 10 in Neville Arena.
And the proper farewell that Sunisha Lee deserves at Neville Arena, completely still on the table. Another thing I wanted to note, Daniel, call me crazy. I thought Auburn got better on vault. I thought that they had a solid performance on not quite still where you'd like for them to be, which granted you're still a top 20 team in the country, but you look at the weakest link, right? I thought Auburn was solid on vault. The beam is, in my opinion, the most difficult, in a lot of people's opinion, most difficult discipline in college gymnastics. And I thought Auburn did fine. They look like they're sharp at the right time. Sophia Gross' ability to just smile through regardless is truly remarkable. Her dismount on beam, not what she wanted, but her ability to kind of, there's no one more resilient than Sophia Gross. And I thought there were a lot of good takeaways, minus the fact that you wish Suni could have competed. And for those of you who I thought I might have cried when Darian had her last routine on the floor at Neville Arena, you were right. I did. So I'm not crazy, right? Like this was a good positive building block.
Sure. Obviously, with anything in sports, there's let me start. Sorry, it's been a long day. It's easy to dwell on the things that could have gone better. That's just true for every sport. But just looking at how far this team has come on vault, because I remember the LSU meet right after they got done with the first rotation, they were so bad on vault. Or I'm not going to say they're so bad, but vault just did not go well. And I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if we lose this meet just because of how uneventful vault was for Auburn. But they've really made that a focus, gotten a lot better on it, and get 2 9.9s. And the first for the first time probably all year on vault. I'm not 100% sure on that. I could be wrong. But yeah, just a very solid performance.
A significant ending and a good way to put a bow on things, Dylan. Before we get to our Diamond Sports Meant to throw this one at the front of the show, so I'm going to make Dylan's life really, really difficult here. But we're going to go ahead and throw it over to our exclusive interview with Anders Carlson and Nick Brahms. You're not going to want to go anywhere. It was important that we talked a little bit of senior night for gymnastics. If he decides to cut this up and you hear it in a different part of the episode, that's completely fine too. We're really excited for this one. So let's throw it over to ourselves, Dylan and I, hanging out with Nick Brahms and Anders Carlson right here on the College Loop.
Yeah, now it's my pleasure, Dylan, to welcome in two very special guests on the College Loop. We've got Anders Carlson and Nick Brahms. Anders, obviously, you're Auburn's kicker and hung around the program for a while. Nick, you were around the program for a while, and we're really excited to have you guys on the College Loop. We've got a lot of good Auburn questions for you guys. We're not going to take too much of your time. I've also got some really hard-hitting journalism later on that I'm really excited to ask you guys. And I know Dylan's going to give me some grief. But first things first, how are you guys doing? And on the backside of your Auburn career now, how's life after Auburn ball?
Yeah, I'll take it. Right now, I'm just a flight instructor at the airport. So I'm still in Auburn and living in town with my fiance. We're headed down to get married right now, actually in Pensacola. So let's go, baby. But yeah, that's all I've been doing is just working all the time and trying to get to the airlines as quick as possible. So it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. Yeah, and for me, yeah, it's crazy how move you can. I mean, you can't even see me, I don't think, but how fast it moves along. You get done and then kind of sent out to the real world. Like right now, I'm training, so not a lot has changed in my routine, but you don't have the hours, you don't have the workouts at 6 a.m. and kind of just gotta fend for yourself, figure out what's best for yourself, and yeah, it changes real quick. But man, I love Auburn. I know we're both sticking around right now at least, and I'm assuming we'll try to come back for roll too. Maybe we'll see.
There you go. Hey, question for you guys. You already mentioned Nick. You're talking about you're a flight instructor now, and you're still working over. You both of you guys have a flight background. This is my hard-hitting journalism. I'll go ahead and put it at the front end here. What are the similarities between playing football and flying an airplane? Because there's got to be something you could connect there.
Yeah. I love that question. I always say, like trying to land an airplane is like trying to win getting like a 4th and 1 for the game, because like every time you got to make a good landing. You got to win that 4th and 1 every time. If you don't, you lose the game.
Right.
There's bigger kinds, but airplane too. So, yeah, I would say landing an airplane is probably similar to 4th and 1. With the game on the line.
Anders, how does it tie into the kicking game? I had to. This was my hard-hitting, just dumb question I wanted to ask you guys. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, landing, you got the win. So kicking, you got win. So you got to factor that stuff in. You got to aim right of the runway. If the wind's right to left, same with the field goal. So I'll tag along with that answer. But I think so too. Like your cockpit management, right? So as a pilot, you got to manage the cockpit, do all your checks and balances. And as a kicker, we get in the playbook a lot, study a lot of film. Obviously, no, I'm playing, but these guys do at least. And yeah, it's the same. You gotta know what you're doing. Be a pro at what you're doing. In the same way you do with flight, you got to know everything about the wings, man, just the instruments. I've actually flown in a while. It's been a while. Since I'm training, I haven't flown. So he took me up a couple months ago, but I'm ready to get back up when I can.
There you go. Dylan, I'll cut you loose. I'll stop hogging the guys.
Yeah, so since y'all spent a lot of time at Auburn, how much of an impact did the university and community play into your personal growth, both on and off the field?
It was huge. I mean, we both spent 6 years there, so that's a good majority of our life. And, that's where I got my best friends, my wife, his soon-to-be wife. And, yeah, on and off the field, on the field and football, couldn't have been a better experience. You go through ups and downs of good season, bad seasons, injuries, healthy seasons. So you kind of learn to be a man and just, get through the hard times, but enjoy the good times too. And, off the field, meeting people outside of football too. And I think that's what, we did pretty well, is just balance our lives. And yeah, I mean, I just loved working, just trying to make Auburn better, just the betterment of Auburn. And man, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I would say the coolest part is meeting like the Auburn family. You know, like everywhere you go, you know, you'll wear an Auburn shirt no matter where you go. Someone will say War Eagle to you. You know, and then that's how you build connections and really build your life. You know, new opportunities and stuff. And so I think that's the most special thing about Auburn is there's so many people who love Auburn. You know, for the university itself and the football team, obviously, and the basketball team, really every sport at Auburn. And so really just being able to meet new people. And like Anders said, I've met my lifelong friends at Auburn who I know will be my brothers for life. And you know, our families will grow up together and be able to see their Uncle Anders, you know, whenever we come and visit them.
Uncle Anders, that'll be a fun era. That'll be a ton of fun. Question for you specifically, Anders. We're going to pick on our buddy J Mac a little bit here. I'm going to give you the opportunity to dog on J Mac a little. He claims that he never didn't have the laces out. Can you confirm that he always had the laces out?
See, our operation times were always on point, so quick that I'm just trying to think, man. I don't remember ever seeing the laces. You know, they did show a clip. I remember during, I think it was spring ball. There's like 14 reps. I think y'all saw it. Maybe it was on like the journey of the documentary we had. And J Mac, man, just every time was money. So I think if you put every single rep, it'd be the same. The dude is he's money. He gets into the spot. He knows the circle. And man, he's just on point with it all. So.
Heard that. I just had to take the opportunity here. He kind of flexed a little bit when he came on the show. We love J Mac. We've been lucky enough to know him for 4 years, but he's like, I swear they're out of time. I was like, I'm find out. I'll be the judge of that. We'll make sure.
Now, I'll pull up something. I'll pull up his maybe his worst clip if I can find something. I'll send it to y'all.
That'd be great.
Just to debunk his argument.
Perfect. Dylan, I'll let you go ahead with grab another one here.
All right, so I'm gonna go to Nick. So you unfortunately retired from football in 2022 after repeated injuries. And through the years, how was the transition from player to essentially a coach, and how much did it mean to have your team pour out so much support into you?
Yeah, it meant the world to me. That was one of the hardest decisions I had to make in my life so far, and you know, it was just something I had to make. Because my health is number one, you know, in my life, and I've had plenty of surgeries. I have my fair share. So after my last one, and you know, it affected me more than the other ones did. My playing style, you know, just being able to get out of my stance and explode out of it, and you know, I kind of saw the writing on the wall for it. And so whenever, you know, my teammates they supported me, you know, no matter if I was playing with them or if I was on the sideline as a coach, you know, and I wanted to be around and stick around because, you know, I came back for that sixth season. I came back, you know, to you know, pour into Auburn one last time, and you know, whatever that looked like, you know, either on the field or as a coach, I wanted to do it and be able to contribute any way I could. So it meant the world to me that the guys, you know, brought me in and supported me because I wouldn't have been able to get through that time in my life without them. Yeah, and I'll add to that. Coach Nick, man, he did a great job. You know, we had a situation where we needed a new coach. I was Team Cadillac, obviously. He did a great job, great Auburn guy. But, you know, if that didn't work out, if Cadillac just wanted to stay, you know, running back coach, I was ready for Team Nick to step up. I think I was interim. I was number 2 on the interim head coach list. Yeah. So
fire up the rumor mill. Fire it up. We'll start it here. You heard it here first. Nick Brahms was next in line if Cadillac did not want the interim head coach.
That's right. That's the headline of this podcast.
Hey, you already sold it. That's the headline of the podcast for the Sunday. Dylan, I'm sold. I'm going to believe it from here on out. And that's what I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to stick to. Question for both of you guys, and we always ask. We've actually been fortunate enough to have a couple walk-on guys come on so far, and you guys are first full-time scholarship athletes, which is super exciting for us. Funniest dude you guys played with? We've heard Worm was hilarious, but beyond that, any guys that really stick out that could make you laugh to the point where like it hurt?
I'm sorry. So, what are the funniest guys? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worm was a character. Worm was a different guy, man. Here's what I think. I mean, for me, in the locker room, there's kind of rows. And you got to hang out with your guys in your rows. You hang out with your group. I hang out with specialists, too. You got Oscar Chapman. I got to put him in there. Reed Hughes, too. Running with Reed. He's famous. But for me, I mean, I had Tank next to me. Tank was a clown. Depending on the day, man, he could be the funniest guy in the locker room. I had Nick across from me. I know he's acting all serious right now, but he's probably the least serious guy I know. Like, always joking around. And then I had Colby next to me too. So like between those three, I was surrounded by a bunch of clowns. Yeah, I gotta give a shout out to my guy Grant Lloyd. He laughs. He makes you feel like the funniest person on earth because he laughs at everything. And so it's like anything you said, I feel like a comedian every day. When I talk to him. So, I would say Grant was probably one of the funniest guys in the day.
I love it. It's funny, Nick, that you mentioned that about Worm because we were talking to Jackson and Brooks Walton, and they both said that you wouldn't even know what Sean Shivers was saying, and you couldn't even understand what he was saying, but he's just hilarious.
Is that 305? What is it? Oh, you said 954. 954. Yeah, 954. Broward County.
I love it. Dylan, go ahead.
All right, and so I'll go back to Anders for this one. What does the NFL draft preparation look like, and how surreal was it to be invited to the combine?
Yeah, it was a huge blessing to go to the combine. A select number of guys get to go, so it's special to go kind of show your stuff to a place where all the teams are and all the coaches you want to talk to are. Since I broke my shoulder, so getting back from that, got healthy, and then I started training right before Christmas, and I've been working really hard. It's kind of fun, like those first few months, no one's really paying attention to you, so you get to kind of just work in the dark. And then now that pro days coming up and all these important check marks are coming up, just kind of get to show what you've been doing. And I'm excited for all the guys, man. Pro days will be awesome at Auburn. We got a lot of guys who have a lot of potential and can show a big show. Just being at the combine was incredible. Kicking in that stadium, it's a huge stadium. It's a great look, and it's a lifelong dream. So it's just a step closer, the way I see it. But just taking it day by day, working out and kicking a lot, and just trying to stay healthy and just being ready for whatever's next.
I'm going to kind of build off that real quick, and we've made it this far. We haven't mentioned Daniel. We're not going to talk about Daniel. We're here to talk about Anders, but. How cool is it? I mean, we've talked to a lot of people around the program that said it was just super fun to watch you be able to go and be Anders Carlson and forge your legacy at Auburn. Obviously, the things that Daniel did at Auburn were incredible, but it had to have been a pretty cool experience to be like, I followed his footsteps, but I was me. Like that had to have been a pretty cool opportunity. Yeah.
No, yeah, it was huge coming in and having him as a resource, right? Learning how to not get in trouble, show up to workouts on time. Some technique stuff with kicking. And then, when he left that first year I was actually playing, I probably got Daniel more than I got Anders. People would have thought I was Daniel still. But, over time, obviously that switched. And, like you said, it was cool to create my own, kind of legacy or name, whatever you want to call it. And, now Daniel's back in Auburn, and sometimes he'll get the occasional Anders or something like that.
Payback time.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was a huge blessing. Definitely, it took Gus a little while. He was the head coach then. I think he was. He had Daniel for 4 years, 5 years. So I got. Yeah, it's cool to look back on it.
I'm sure.
All right, so what people really don't understand is the fact that Anders was actually a higher rated recruit. So the level of hype that came in when Anders came in was massive. I was an Auburn fan my entire life, so whenever I heard there's another Carlson brother coming in, I was like, "Oh, another all-time kicker for Auburn. Let's go."
You were right.
I was right. And
go ahead.
I was going to say, so you are actually second all-time in Auburn scoring, which is outstanding. The fact that y'all probably the highest scoring brothers in football history, really. So how does it feel to have that kind of legacy with your brother?
Yeah, no, there's two things I got to touch on there. One, I didn't know that I was higher than my brother. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I do know, as one of my closest buddies and one of our roommates was John Samuel Shanker, and he's turned out to have the incredible career as a tight end, special player for Auburn, a leader and stuff. But I was higher than him coming in, and as a kicker, I was like, I just thought that was pretty funny. So I just kind of rubbed that in his face a little bit. I know he's had a lot of success here. Were you higher than me? Nick, I don't really know. Was I higher than Anders, or do you know?
I think Nick, I think you were higher than Anders.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. Yeah. I was definitely like third to last in the class. Nick was.
You know what? You're in the class, and that's what mattered.
No, I think all I gotta say is me and Jalen spent a lot of time in Auburn, man. We're old guys. We spent 9 years combined together, so it was just fun to kick for Auburn, and obviously our job is to make some points. So glad we could do it.
There's a large generation of Auburn fans that this year will be the first time in their lives that they've ever seen a non-Carlson kick for Auburn. I'd just like wrap your brain around that for a second. Yeah. Question for both you guys about Coach Malzahn. Both of you guys, Gus Malzahn guys. Well, how's y'all's relationship with him and Christy, and do you guys stay in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. He has so many players, and he's busy coaching still. But I actually saw him the day of my wedding, and he'll send you texts before a game, maybe. I know he loves Auburn, so I'm sure I'll see him later on and laugh a good bit. But the occasional text every once in a while. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Miss Christy wished me a happy birthday the other day. It meant a lot.
Right on. Yeah. Good folks. I don't know if you guys even want to speak on this, but for Dylan and I, it's been fun to watch Gus succeed at UCF, and we sincerely enjoy watching him be a successful football coach. I imagine since you guys were recruited by him, y'all are kind of pulling for him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've got a couple of friends on his team right now. I'm always rooting for him.
Right on. Dylan, did you want to go ahead here?
So picking out a question. All right, so Nick, people don't talk enough about how tough it is to play center. What message do you have for folks who don't appreciate the big guys up front as much as they should?
Yeah, I'll say, I always argue with the O-line, other O-linemen about this, but I think center is the hardest position to play.
It is.
Because, you got a 300, sometimes 330, 350, nose tackle on you, you know what I mean? And, and you got to snap the ball, and then you got to block them. The other guys, they can just have their weight forward, especially in a run block, or they can have less weight on their hands, they're pass blocking, The center, it's always snap first and then go. So I think that's what makes it the hardest position. But the tackles, like I was talking to Austin Troxel about this. The tackles are on an island by themselves, which I can get that because the center does get a little bit of help sometimes, and I can call it the pass protections, the scheme, and if I need a little bit of help, I can always call it for myself,
Right.
So yeah, that's what I always argue with them about. It was fun though. But yeah, no, the five guys up front are crucial. To the success of a team, and it was a fun 5 years playing. The hardest position on the field. I don't care what anybody says. That and quarterback. I would say cornerback too. Trying to cover a wide receiver when you don't know what they're doing. I feel like that's pretty tough too. But obviously, I didn't have any experience with that. But I just imagine that would be pretty hard.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Kicker, quarterback, center, and deep corner, right? Yeah.
I was about to say, I'm not putting words in Anders' mouth, but I'm sure he's sitting over here going, "Yeah, you've not stood alone at the end of in a fourth quarter game-winning situation in the middle of an SEC hostile environment." But sure.
Yeah. How about making a snap though? A good snap on a 4th and 1 with 10
It's
seconds.
important. It's so important. It starts with you.
Hey, I started the play.
Here's all I know is when I'm out on the field, Nick's guys that are around him on the line are out there grinding on field goal, and I look over to the bench and Nick's just sitting there drinking some Gatorade.
That's right.
he claims he's a hard worker and a good friend, but he's never actually blocked a field goal for me. Never blocks for me. So I don't know if we can say hardest for center.
That is true.
You get a playoff.
Listen,
Every coach I had they didn't like the center on field goal because they were worried about their snapping hand. So
Makes sense.
I don't think many centers are on field goal because I remember we already got we got Quamaba.
Anders, it feels a little bit like a cop out to me, but I'm not getting in the middle of that.
That's what maybe he's out of shape. You can't stay in here.
Nick, another question for you real quick. You had a handful of guys. Actually, you had more continuity than a lot of people have had recently in terms of taking the snap from you while you were at Auburn, really just predominantly two quarterbacks. Who, and it could have been in practice too, who was the biggest, I guess, hard ass in terms of it had to be done a certain way? I think they may have hit a cell hole again, which is cool.
Bo liked the dead ball snap, which I was pretty good at, and I like the dead ball snap. But at some point I was trying to do a spiral, and he was like, "No way." He was like, "You need to go back to dead ball." I was like, "Okay." I didn't realize it made that big of a difference to you, but that sounds good. But I would say Bo. But me and Bo had fun too. I haven't had any hard ass quarterbacks who wouldn't like what I did or something. They're all cool about it.
Right on. Well, Dylan, I think that's probably gonna wrap it up. Guys, we really appreciate y'all coming on. We don't want to spend too much more of your time. Nick, congrats, man. We're excited for you. Enjoy your week. Thank you guys. If y'all ever want to talk Auburn ball, Anders, you got my number, please try to text us. And if you want to come bash Nick about not being on kicks without him being on the show, let us know. We'll host the banter. We're here for it. And we appreciate the hell out of you guys. You guys be safe in your travels, and we will touch base and stay in touch.
Hey, good to meet y'all. If you want to come down to Nick's wedding this Saturday, Pensacola, y'all make a trip.
Yeah.
Whoever's listening to this,
Just let me know.
you're invited on behalf of me. But hey, good to meet y'all.
Absolute pleasure, guys.
Fun talking off. We'll see y'all.
See ya.
Thank you so much to Anders Carlson and Nick Brahms for joining the show. Like I said, one more time, congratulations to the Brahmses. That's a big moment. We're excited. Big congrats from the College Loop. I would like to put out there that Anders personally invited the three of us, and we decided to not crash Nick Brahms' wedding. So I think that we should be on the good list. We're on the nice list, and that Nick and I'd like to think that Nick and us are now friends. We are friends with both of those guys.
Oh, for sure. It seems like
Friends
we're batting out loyalties between the Ellis family and the Brahms family now. So
we're actually starting the bidding war between the Ellises and the Brahms. So, anyways, back to the Auburn sports. Had a busy weekend on the Plains, like we mentioned at the top of the show. Auburn softball, not exactly the kind of week you're looking for. Bats were silent and large, and wound up falling and dropping 2 straight games to UGA on Saturday after a pretty encouraging victory on Friday. And guys, I just don't know how to put it other than Auburn pitched fine. They killed themselves on little mistakes with defense, and that happened at the Georgia Tech loss on Wednesday as well. Dylan, I'll get your thoughts and your takeaways, but the bats were just quiet.
yeah, Auburn struggled immensely when it came to hitting the ball today more than anything. Yesterday, you had 3 home runs on the first game, and that's when you won 6-5. Then you go into day first game, and you got shut out 5-0. Just nothing was going. Shelby Lowe was getting lit up. That was probably the only downside of the pitching this entire series was Georgia just found a way to hit the ball just wherever Auburn's outfield was not. And we saw, I think, 3 or 4 errors today alone from the outfield. And you go into the second game, Auburn starts off very well, put up 4 runs pretty early. And then, you go up 4-2 in the 7th inning or 6th or 7th inning, give up 2 runs right off the bat from Georgia, close it out, go to extra innings, go to 10. Maddie Pinta, to give her an arm massage or something. She was pitching out of her mind. I think she had over 100 pitches for sure. And I know her arm is sore, but not much you can do. Couldn't really hit the ball that second game. And very few, the balls were it just didn't go Auburn's way last 2 games.
It simply just was not Auburn's weekend, and that's going to happen throughout the course of the SEC season. But you got to get right Daniel, they're going to get a short break this weekend and not have to play SEC opponents. How do you get right? How do you build momentum? And really, where does it start? I think it's on the offensive side of the plate.
Yeah. I would say a big part of it is just kind of getting back to the drawing board a little bit, just kind of visiting what's gone well, what hasn't gone well. Get in the cage. That's always a good place to start. Just kind of, I'm not saying necessarily start from the beginning, but you've got to reevaluate some things because there have been times this year where this offense just has not shown up.
Sure.
So you've got to get that figured out, or you're going to get eaten alive in SEC play.
And I think this team is better than what they showed this weekend. So it's a matter of shuffling things and making things sit in the right places, and that comes with the season. I know that 24, 25 games into the season now feels like it's probably a little deeper than it is. It's not. You've still got a very young season on your hands and a lot of time to figure things out. Another team that's not even into its SEC play on the diamond. Let's talk Auburn baseball for a second, guys. Absolutely mollyrocking Southeastern Louisiana on Friday night, and then kind of getting destroyed for all intents and purposes. I know it's 8-3 as a final, but losing on Saturday morning. And we mentioned time and time again, good opponent, good for your RPI. The pitching's concerning. Am I wrong?
I don't think you are. I don't think you're wrong at all. It seemed it's a weird thing going on with both Diamond Sports. You start off with kind of not a dominating partial win. Your bats were all there for the first game, and then the second game, I mean, deficit's the same for the second game, but different reasons. But it seems that Auburn is starting to really miss Gonzo. You're going against a regional team that you faced last year, and you're missing your best pitcher. So it's going to be really hard to keep that consistency whenever you have to go into Saturday with not your usual guy. And of course, it probably didn't help the fact that today was a doubleheader for both sports because the weather, and you're used to playing on Sunday. You're used to having that like extra 12 hours to rest up, get ready for the next game. But then you have to 40 minutes later, you got to pack it back up, go back on the field.
And it's worth noting that at time of recording this right now, Auburn's currently down. I believe it's 5-2 in the middle of the seventh. Yes, 5-2. Southeastern Louisiana favored in the middle of the seventh. That was 55 minutes ago, though. I imagine that's been updated since then. I'm just trying to find the update.
I can.
Regardless,
for you.
You surely do not want to lose a series to a non-conference opponent. It's just not something you want to do at the college baseball level. It's okay to get knocked around in softball a little more so than it is in baseball. Baseball, you wind up playing these series. Not great for your RPI if you wind up losing them, especially if you lose them at home. Not saying this is the end of the world. Not saying this is going to go poorly. I mean, we've seen Auburn get swept by UCF and then turn around and win 2 out of 3 against Arkansas not too long ago. But you want to figure out the arms, and the offense has got to help. It's got to help consistently. You can't look to the same 3 or 4 guys. And I think we mentioned this on the Thursday show. You can't look to the same 3 or 4 guys to manufacture everything for you. You need to be consistent 1 through 9. Now, looking forward, Daniel, Auburn's got a test on Tuesday in a midweek contest, granted at Plainsman Park, but with Georgia Tech. And yes, I'm sorry for those of you. I am wearing a Georgia Tech crew neck. I just came from Georgia Tech baseball game, doing a little scouting myself. Tech's super beatable. They're good, but they're beatable. But Auburn's got to bring its best stuff. This is not a midweek game where you can kind of throw around some test arms. This is a midweek game that can seriously help or hurt your RPI. What's the approach there and the mental outlook, Daniel, for Auburn?
The mental outlook is you just cannot take this opponent for granted. This is an opponent that you could definitely see this summer. This is definitely a team that could be an NCAA tournament team. So just kind of, you got to go into it like you're going up against Ole Miss or Tennessee,
Arkansas,
right? Any of those high caliber College World Series type teams, you have to look at this the same way because this could be one. They're very good. So you need to start early. You really probably, it would not be ideal to let them get out to a lead, not a big one anyway. I don't see this being a game that you can come back from being down 4 or 5 early.
Sure.
So just avoiding that and early offense is probably the biggest thing. Get a run or two in the first inning, and I think you're setting yourself up pretty well for a good night.
Agreed. Dylan, I think you throw Tommy Vale.
Oh,
Am I crazy?
Yeah, I don't think you are at all. I think Tommy Vale is probably, I don't say your best option, but for as weird thin as the pitching rotation is right now, without Gonzo, I mean, Tommy Vale is kind of your hot hand. So you kind of have to throw him in just to get back right, because it looks like I just checked it again. It's still 5-2, middle of the 7th, from unless they haven't updated it in a while, because that still says an hour ago. So I don't know if they're in delay or something. They haven't said anything. But I mean, he's your hot hand, like I just said, and you gotta put him in.
I think you throw your best midweek arm, and I think that guy is Tommy Vale. And if you throw him on Tuesday, you can throw him again Sunday. Don't think I'm crazy for that. Guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out on this crazy busy Saturday night. None of us are in our hometowns right now or at our residence. I'm in Atlanta and downtown hanging out with some buddies. Daniel, I think you're still in Nashville, right?
No, I'm in Birmingham now.
Daniel's back in Birmingham. He's on some solid ground. And Dylan's coming to you live from the new Larck family camper, coming to a tailgate near you in 2023 football season on the Plains. Daniel, tell everybody where they can find your work, and we'll work our way around here. I think we're good. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Loop. If you're listening to the YouTube version, make sure you subscribe.
You can follow me on Twitter at Daniel J. Locke, and you can find my written work for The Observer or any Auburn student media outlet, plus potentially another one coming soon. More details on that later.
Well, that's news to me. I'm Harrison Tarr.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
It's not.
Okay. Maybe when we hit in record, you'll fill me in and I'll just have an epiphany. I'm Harrison Tarr at by Harrison Tarr on Twitter, like you read my byline. If you want to read my byline and read my written work, I've got some cool NFL draft stuff coming out soon and already has been published by the Auburn Daily. We're going to have a complete write-up about what Anders Carlson and Nick Brahms said about life after football. That's coming out on the Auburn Daily. A lot of exciting stuff coming out on that front. You can catch me on the Auburn Daily Show every Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday with Dylan Larck, Friday with the legendary Lindsey Crosby. I'm also on the College Loop every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, just like Dylan's about to tell you about.
Yep, and I am Dylan Larck at your boy the Tank on Twitter. That's at YABOI the Tank, and you can find the College Loop literally everywhere. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, that's Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, social media. We got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and of course YouTube, but sadly do not have a MySpace quite yet. But yeah, with that being said, for the College Loop Podcast.